Yep.
It's going to be a podcast, but, really it's just kind of the first one that's going on. We're working out kinks, so bear with us as we go forward. This is the Forged in Crypto podcast, and what we're going to try and do in the beginning of the week is just kind of a market update, market feel, like where everything's at, what's happening in the ecosystem. So that's what today's podcast is going to be. We'll talk about other things that we have coming up at the end of this podcast. So, you can read, hopefully, but maybe have to read it. This content is for informational purposes only and should not be taken as investment advice. The information provided here does not constitute a recommendation. I can't even read.
You don't need
Anyways,
to read it.
look,
It's there.
look.
Not investment advice.
It's not investment advice. If you take this as investment advice and you make money or lose money, that was your own choice.
Yep.
All right? That's it. Your choice. Not ours to do this. All we're doing is we're having fun here looking at markets.
We're just talking into a microphone.
Yeah. So take it as it is. We're just a few dummies sitting around the table.
Yep.
So, anyways, we got Michael Barr.
Howdy.
We got Blake Edwards.
Hello.
And we got myself, Nate Harper. So we're just here to chat and kind of start the year off with what we see and kind of our thoughts and, go forward with that. And obviously today is a gross day. We have
It's not that bad.
across the board. Come on, when the SPY's down, I mean, we're used to crypto, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
so
true.
when the overall markets are down, but I said this to you yesterday, they're going to be down sometime within the next day to week because there's only been one time in the last year on the SPY that there has been zero wick on
Right.
a year open.
Right.
It was in 2013.
Yes.
So if you go to like a yearly on your, instead of days, go to, let's see if you can do a year. Sit 12 months. That works. That's a year. And on the SPY itself, so when you scroll it out, go to 2013, you'll see it's the only year that did not have a wick.
And that was a pretty good year.
So every other year has had a small, at minimum, a small wick. So regardless, I was like, the likelihood that we're going to go down at some point in time is much more likely than not.
Yep.
So
And for people who don't understand technical analysis that much, all the wick means is that it went, lower after the first day at some point.
and look, I promise we're not going to do a bunch of technical analysis stuff, but that's all Michael lives on. He's just
I love
all
it.
the time. He's like, when the liquidity zone hits the upper echelons of this and that, if we ever talk about options, just get ready for a nap because it's going to get really boring.
We're really excited.
Oh man,
Yeah.
he's on it. I mean, I'm going to be in here. You might hear me snoring because
Yeah, that's all right.
it's like I'm a up or down.
I'll wake you up and I'll tell you up.
Yep.
Time's
Yep.
up.
That's all I need. Is
Channel
it gonna
trade.
Is it going to go up or is it going to go down? We just came off of a year that was pretty ugly in all markets. I mean, we're crypto guys, so let's look at just bring the Bitcoin chart up. Look at that bad boy.
Yeah.
Do Bitcoin? Yeah, Bitstamp on there and do the yearly. Just
You want to see the yearly?
yeah, put on the yearly because it gives an idea. I mean, it'll show you so you can see the full channel of it
Hit auto down there on the right, and that should probably get it there.
and log. There you go, and then kind of scroll out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. There you go. You can go a little bit longer too, but either way you look at it. So obviously, it's still up only when we look at the yearly.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting when you look at the consistency of once. Actually, by the way, happy birthday, Bitcoin.
Oh, happy birthday.
Is it
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's birthday today?
Yeah, today's the
Yeah.
Genesis block, dude.
Wow.
January 3rd,
Happy birthday,
2009.
Bitcoin.
2009, so 14 years ago.
Wow.
That was a long time ago. And you can't even get the full data on TradingView. I think there's a few sites you can see kind of stuff there, but realistically,
It wasn't moving.
Well, no, it moved. It moved a boatload. I mean, it was down in the pennies range, when it was actually traded. But the data that can be drawn from
Yes.
that is a long time ago on different exchanges that they just can't get. But I mean, it's up only. You look at from 2000, 13, 14.
Yeah.
That was, you had your big push up, and then you had a couple years of down, one red candle, but you still had some really big down on that 2015 year. And then up only, and then you had some down, and then up only, and then some down. So
It's
we're
gonna be up this
getting
year.
close.
Just
well,
follow the pattern, right? And it's in a channel.
well, we could go down still. I mean, I don't see us right now. And when I say down, I mean down, but then back up.
yeah,
Right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
We'll see. Like, I'm not really confident about this year as being like, yay, it's gonna be all roses and unicorns. It's like, but I do see we've been so depressed, we're so down that it's interesting to see. We'll probably see a lot of sideways. I think there's definitely going to be some opportunities for some trades potentially that's in there. I think anybody, sorry, I probably shouldn't say it. Personally, if I were to dollar cost average, this is the time I would start doing that, like right now, for lots of things, anything that I'm really bullish on, for the future. We're down a lot. Like ultimately, in those prior years, from top to bottom, in those bear markets, I think it was 82% was the total down, and I think we were down 76% or something along those lines from top to bottom. So
I don't know.
we're close.
I think we could have a better year. Like I think there's potential there for that.
I like your confidence.
I know.
Well, doesn't it? I mean, like looking historically, doesn't it? The crypto market kind of operate on a 200-week cycle.
I wish you could pull up my charts. So I have a really cool chart that's on there. But you look at last bear market, it was, and so I'm talking from 2018.
Are you looking on a daily?
I have it on the weekly, but just because it's so much data. So from 2018 to the bottom, which is essentially was 2000. So sorry, let me back up. It was December 2017 when we topped. Okay. And it was kind of midway, the 18th-ish, around there.
Yep.
And then we bottomed, right in that mid-December range. So we had a year of just downward momentum, right? And that was the bottom.
Are you talking about December of 18?
Yeah, December of 2018. Yep. And that was the bottom, right? And then we just consolidated for a while until around, April timeframe. And then we jumped up. Again, so now we're looking at, so that was 370-ish days for that bear market. The bear market before that was 413-ish days. And so when we look at from the top to bottom now, of where we're currently at, we're at from the top.
November.
We'll go November. Because it was higher. It was a very interesting kind of maneuver there, with lower volume with that push up. But still, we'll call it the top just because we're at 427 days currently from that top to where we're currently at now. So we've got it. And if it's following the same cycle,
Yeah.
Is it going to follow the same cycle? The halving and that kind of stuff is the narrative that would push it that way. But there's a really big overhanging just kind of weight on Bitcoin and the crypto market, which is, do you know? It's something that's never been in before. It's never operated in a recession.
Oh, yeah.
Although are we technically in the new recession, whatever. I mean, we're in a recession, whatever.
Yes.
I mean,
no matter what they say, we are.
whatever.
I know. I heard some smart legacy person giving all this data for like I think in 2023 we're probably going to go into a recession. I was like, what? I was like, we're in one.
Yeah, and we talked about that before. The Fed came out, or, the Democrats came out and said, well, we can't use this as a this is before the election. We can't use the same term as a recession. We're not in a recession right now. And it's like, okay.
Call it what you want it.
Whatever, guys. We're in a sucky
Downturn.
situation.
Yeah, sucky situation. That's what we're calling it.
So realistically, for me, it's like we should be damn close if we're going to be following that same thing. But I mean, we look at inflation. Let's look at trueflation. It's probably one of our biggest, one of the better indicators. So this is kind of cool. If you guys haven't seen it, trueflation. You can look at the categories themselves. So they are aggregating prices from across the web, from all over the place, and they're putting it. I think they're using Chainlink Oracle or something along those lines to put this on a database to monitor it and show what the actual true inflation numbers are across the board, and not the weighted CPI garbage that we all impatiently wait on. And what's the next one coming up, Michael? When's the next?
It's
January something.
January
12th.
12th or 13th.
So we get
the next CPI.
Ooh, next CPI numbers. It's interesting
I think
to
it's
see.
the 13th.
We pulled something up earlier, like the past CPI numbers. We had so here you can see from January of last year it was 7.5, then to 7.9, 8.5, peaked in June. So if we go to Trueflation and we go back to January, I think it was like a 10.
Yeah, 10 and a half.
So you're at 10, and we peaked, and according to theirs, in June. Well, this one shows March with the Trueflation
Almost
is
12.
at almost 12, and the peak on the CPI was in June at 9.
Yeah, 9.1. And
So
here it's
the difference that they're
11.2.
pulling, and and giving out to everybody else, and that everybody's just hanging their hat on.
And we should probably talk about the difference between CPI and real inflation a little bit.
Sure.
It was Arthur Burns. He was a Fed chairman back in the 70s, and he didn't like the numbers that he was seeing, as he just wanted to say it was lower. And so he's like, well, let's just take that part out. Like, that's not real.
Yeah.
And so he did that, and then that started a process of taking out more things they didn't like politically that said what they wanted to say. And so CPI is sort of this weird jumble of most important things and a few things just not included at all. And so this website seems to actually be doing what we thought CPI is.
What it should be doing.
What it should be doing, which is real inflation. So it's interesting to see how the numbers are different.
Well, and look down below. You know the categories. Obviously, utilities is the highest when we look through them all. Like 12.
Even housing's
12.2. I think the another interesting one is what is it?
Negative.
Oh, transport. Check out transport. So it went up to 20 some odd percent at the peak. And we're talking before that was the supply chain.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, there's no cars.
There's no cars, or there were cars that just.
This is when I got into Turo right here and made a ton of money because there was no rental cars.
Yeah.
Yep. So I mean that was interesting. This is a really cool site to kind of see what real prices are doing across the ecosystem. So.
Yeah. No, it's a cool one.
But I mean that's a big one that we're looking at. If you scroll back to the top and look at where we're sitting at, it's flattening out. We'll see how it goes here in the next week. I mean, they're still raising interest rates, which is supposed to curb inflation, which it looks like it's doing its job.
And I think we've been coming down too. It's working. It takes more than a month.
Oh yeah.
For the 1,000 businesses to go under, which is essentially what happens. When they raised interest rate 50 basis points, and then to see the results of those layoffs and all that, and people spending less. Like it takes time, and so. I don't know. I'm hoping I think the numbers will look a little bit better even next month, and I think that's one of my premises for the market to like potentially take off is when the Fed stops raising. Yeah. Then that sends a signal that okay, the worst pain is over, and I feel like we've washed out a lot of sellers.
And that's one thing I've kind of been coming back to over and over is, I mean, in my head, I can't justify crypto markets turning around until legacy markets start to turn around.
Absolutely.
Because people don't, I mean, considering, it's a quote unquote riskier investment, depending on the way you look at it. I mean, it can be said that people are going to put their money where it's safer first.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
they don't, until people have free capital to throw into the crypto space, it's not going to grow.
No, and you see that movement all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And so right now people are in cash.
Yep.
There's low liquidity in anything because nobody's in it. Nobody wants to be in it. And the people that are in this stuff, they're just long-term holders, right? So, and it has to move back from there into your less risky assets.
Yep.
And you're going to have
legacy will lead.
Legacy will lead before crypto, but even in the legacy side, there's so many, less risky, whatever.
Most people don't beat SPX.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like if you put your money, it's pretty safe to a degree putting your money just in mutuals and stuff, and people are going to invest in non-liquid assets too. I mean, start putting money back into real estate and stuff like that.
But
I think.
when we say people, right, that's not what we're waiting for right now. Right?
That's true.
We're waiting for
Firms.
The institutions.
firms and institutions to make their move.
Mm-hmm.
And what are they waiting for, right?
They're waiting for the signal that things are okay, and it's time to put money back.
Yeah,
And you're going to miss out on making money if you don't have it in. That's the signal that they have to get.
So what's the signal they're waiting for?
I think it's going to be the Fed, stop raising interest rates, and inflation is good enough.
Are they kind of like lemmings too, where once one of them goes, they're all going to start going?
Kind of.
Yeah, you see that too. Like it'll be one person jumps into something, and then the next, and the next. They're all monitoring each other, seeing what they're doing. But I mean, my overall working theory is you'll see some movement because it is such low liquidity.
Yeah.
Whether it's some VC firms or whatever, kind of diving into some different indices, moving stuff up. But it's going to be sideways. I don't see us moving too high, and then there's this looming thing in the background. This just giant meteorite that's going to just blow shit up.
What are you referring to?
Real estate?
The housing bubble is just going to explode.
I mean, maybe I'm crazy.
No,
foreclosed properties.
100%.
Oh no, it's going to be.
It's going to fall.
Yeah, it's going to be big.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one of the things we'll pull up. We'll go deeper into this on the next podcast, but there's so many just gross numbers in the real estate side that haven't even really hit when you look at numbers.
Right.
And, this is always a downtime for real estate anyway. When you look at, wintertime, not as many people buy or sell. And so it's already kind of quiet. So everybody's just kind of like, it's okay. Come springtime. Now, what happens in springtime when we are expecting stuff to move up, but yet wait? The interest rates are still sitting at 7, 8, 9% for somebody to get a home loan.
Yeah.
You have a couple different factors that are playing into this. One is, Bob bought his house 10 years ago, 10 years, 15 years ago, even, 7 or 8 years ago, and has refinanced in that house or whatever low-ass rate he's sitting at. And now for him to upgrade or do anything else, he has to, sell his house, buy into that new house, and his interest rate's going to be so much higher.
So much higher.
That either his house has to have gained an insane amount of value, which there was a huge growth in it, but we've come back down a little bit.
But that's coming back down, yeah.
So he either has to have that huge growth in value that he's going to be able to take out of his house to put into the next house so his loan isn't as much, so he can still afford it, or his income is going to have to have gone up dramatically to be able to cover that cost of that loan. We're not seeing the payroll of people go up that much, so that's not going to be there.
Yeah. I mean, the one way I look at it, like, simple math, like a 30-year mortgage, if you take that mortgage and, you look at the cap tables, you basically for the first 10 years are essentially paying interest. Like, that's not exactly right. Pay a little bit of principal every month, but it's most of it is interest. And so when people buy a house, they're like, okay, can I afford $2,000 a month? Can I afford $3,000 a month? Okay, that's the house. I want as much house as I can for $3,000 a month.
Right.
Well, if your interest rate doubles, and it's more than doubled now, essentially your monthly bill doubles just about, a little less than. But and so that same guy who was maybe could afford $2,500 a month, like he's going to have to get a house that's half as much to pay the same amount if he takes out the same mortgage, same loan amount.
And we haven't seen this come through yet. We haven't seen this really hit the market yet. So, real estate's a slower moving market. So I just feel like there's a big kind of shoe to fall there. And
you're right. It's going to be hard for legacy to go contrary to that, right? Like if housing is falling off a cliff, like we think it could, it's going to be hard for legacy to go up.
Well, there was, I think BlackRock did something, it was a couple months ago, where they didn't allow customers to withdraw from a certain, they had like their private REIT or whatever it was that they were offering, because they just couldn't because of the prices and everything else that was going down. There's some limits
think it's
investors
right here.
withdrawal. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So there you go. Yeah. So
Hmm.
Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust, also known as the BREIT, allowed investors to withdraw $1.3 billion in November. That represents about 43% of the redemption requests it received, according to by the Financial Times, cited by I can't read it all, but anyways, ultimately they were withholding some of the withdrawals that people were trying to make on this REIT because of the market conditions.
Yeah, this was maybe like the canary in the coal mine.
So
right?
when was
Like-
this released?
This was
November.
this article is from December 1st.
December 1st. Okay. So I mean these are little these are big things that people look at and see and like, okay. I mean, canary in the coal mine was what was the whole big China real estate thing? Remember that?
Oh, that was a
Oh,
while
it's
back.
still going
Yep,
on.
that-
I mean,
yep.
it's
Yeah.
they're. I mean, the state controls so much of their
Mhm.
housing market, and one because they keep devaluing their currency to the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way we are in so much debt to them.
Yeah.
They're on the brink of an entire collapse, and it's going to be interesting to see how it basically only affects the government because they own it all, and so it's going to be
It'll be weird.
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So I think for me that's the one thing I'm waiting for. Although I guess there's one other big one, and that's when it affects us in the crypto market is the whole Genesis, GBTC.
Yeah.
Apparently, Genesis. I just was reading some stuff this morning. The Genesis was somehow it's public now that they were a part of the whole attack on Luna, potentially.
Interesting.
And then they were talking about how they hold some of their assets, and it sounded a lot like what FTX was doing with Alameda. Like they had assets that were just kind of like, oh yeah, but we gave them to Alameda to do this thing. So
Just accounting fraud.
yeah, and I don't know. It's the way they talked about it. It was a little, I don't know, it was a little weird. I'll have to pull some of that stuff up. too, but it
Yeah,
was-
that's interesting.
so that one's still looming, and this is all coming from the FTX collapse.
Mhm.
Where's that money? Where are people going to, be able to get this to continue working their business? And Genesis is a huge, a huge one out there for the crypto universe when you talk about the relationship with GBTC and how that works. So I don't know. GBTC. I think what's their NAV at right now? The GBTC. Because they were trading at a 50% discount, I think, sometime in December.
Yeah, it was. It kept looking like a good time to buy because at a discount, but then it just keeps going down. So you just got to be
It's at 8.
careful. Oh my God, that's even worse than it was.
816. Yeah, that's ugly.
Yeah.
So
That's
they're
a
at
little
about 50.
weekly,
It's at
I
about a
guess,
50%.
yeah.
It's close to it right now. So.
Huh.
I've got it right here. I'll pull it up. 45.17%.
Hmm.
That's so essentially when I'm talking about the NAV discount, GBTC is a trust that holds actual Bitcoin for its customers. And so the amount that is worth that they hold right now is trading at a 45% discount according to
meaning-
their stock price.
Yeah, meaning they could theoretically, as long as they hold everything they say they do, which it looks like they do, they could sell everything and pay back all of the stockholders at current price plus
Here's
45%.
And you
Like-
say what they say they do because they're holding it with a lot of their stuff with Coinbase.
Right.
Coinbase
Right.
custodial.
Yeah.
Mm.
So for me, okay, we're doing this with Towncoin right now, but the blockchain itself allows for us to monitor wallets and what they hold.
Yeah, you can't see an exchange though.
It should. Well, exchanges have wallets, right? And
Yeah,
so
sure.
if
They're a little bit harder to
exchange-
find, but
If an exchange is holding for a certain company, they should have some sort of accounting ability internally, especially in the blockchain side. Like it should be damn easy.
Yeah.
Like how much do I hold for this company? Start another wallet for that damn company. Like great. And I understand it's like if you're holding so much, the security practices of, holding that many private keys for that many companies becomes a kind of a nightmare, but there's ways around that can make it a lot easier. So the idea that we can't see this or they can't give us actual numbers it's kind of BS, man. Especially in the blockchain world where it's all there.
Yeah.
You should be able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we can see all the transactions and what they potentially hold and where that goes, but yeah.
Huh.
So let's do this. How long are we running for? Because we'll do a quick one on this one, but I know Michael wants to get into a few legacy stuff. You want to talk about what? Some Tesla?
Yeah. Well, Boeing and Tesla, we want a little bit of hope or a little bit of. I like Boeing. Right. That's just personally, not an investment advice for anybody else. But I just kind of like the way that chart lines up, and it's trying to break through. It needs to break through with good volume, and I think it would have if the other markets were doing well. The fact that it's still holding up, on my chart I have the 20-day moving average, and that channel it's been in, it's just been riding that. And so I think it has potential to keep riding that and then break out, is my expectation. And so I'm trading that personally, but I'm also doing it in a hedged position, in a hedged way. Which is boring options that.
Yeah, I mean, Boeing definitely looks better than a lot of other stuff. I mean, compared to Tesla,
yeah,
it's like inverse.
Tesla's
down only.
rough. Tesla is just getting destroyed. And I've full disclosure, I've personally started dollar cost averaging a little bit into it, and will not today. I'm gonna see what happens over the next week, because that's an ugly looking candle today.
That's a lot. That's a lot of volume, though.
My gut is it's Musk selling because he's got to buy Twitter, but that's based on just guessing.
I think he came out and said he's not selling anymore.
Well, then who's selling? That's a lot of sell.
If you look at the volume and you look at the Wednesday the 28th and Wednesday the 29th, the two highest volume days.
Mm-hmm.
So that's buy volume, right, coming through there.
Yeah.
It's pushing it up a little bit. Now, everything before that is a lot of selling.
Yep.
And a lot of that was Musk.
Yeah.
Right? Or
Yeah.
was he? When did he come out? So he came out and said that he won't be selling any more Tesla stuff. I can't remember when it was, but I don't know. Tesla has some pretty interesting things coming about when you think about their the semi trucks that they have going out.
It's just
pretty big.
Awesome. Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah.
You can say something.
No, you talk about it.
I was gonna say it's funny. One of my
you.
Oh, okay. So no, I didn't. I don't want you were. I think going into the semi stuff where, their Tesla semis are just I think going to take over the highways because they're better, they're cheaper. I know Pepsi signed some deal with them, and it's going to have, it's going to save them. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it was something like $1 billion is what Pepsi expects to save once their whole fleet has transitioned to the Tesla semis.
Do they have a time frame when they're going to transition to that?
They probably do, and I don't know what it is.
If it's $1 billion, I think that the Pepsi might be the trade then. You're saving them $1 billion. I mean, that's decent.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Roll out PepsiCo.
Yeah,
2023.
Nice.
100 Tesla semis.
Well, I don't think that's their whole fleet.
No, I mean that's their test.
Yeah.
Fleet, I would assume.
That's interesting. Yeah, it might be a decent.
Pepsi. Let's look at the chart. Let's pull it up.
I don't know what Pepsi looks like. I don't think I've ever even bought Pepsi.
I have not traded Pepsi. I've never looked at the chart actually.
It's PEP. PEP. Yeah.
That could find some support where it's at right there. It'll be interesting. That'll be an interesting one to watch.
You think of that. Go long term on that thing. Go to a week and just zoom out. And hit instead of doing that, hit auto and hit auto log because it kind of gives you a bigger picture of that, and then you can scroll with the middle scroll button in and out. Yeah, there you go. Take your CPI weighted deal off. Click that off there. There you go. That's been your problem.
Yeah, it has.
CPI weighted USD to the ruble. Okay.
I have no clue.
That is Blake Edwards and his financial advice. Yep. Okay. But
trade in Russian markets.
That is not his financial advice.
I mean, look at that. God. That chart's just straight up only the whole time. Like it doesn't dip down.
I hate looking at this chart because I haven't traded it at all.
I mean, there's
this is just upward channel.
Why buy anything else? Just stick with Pepsi.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
Yeah,
people
I'm
are
gonna
drinking-
be looking. I'm gonna looking for a position on this one.
I'm more of a Coke guy, but
Me too.
I don't even know. Like cocaine?
no.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
full
that's-
of Coke. Check that one
Yeah,
out.
let's
That
look at
one's-
it too.
That one is not as good looking as Pepsi. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
not.
Interesting.
It's interesting. But anyways,
That's a lot higher.
I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunities when we look at what's going to happen this year to, again, find these, and we'll go into more depth on some stuff. We're going to talk about different opportunities, much like when you think about Tesla, you think about Pepsi, the collaboration that they're doing, like how that's going to save Pepsi money. Is that a good opportunity down the road? Like things that we can hopefully bring for you.
Start drawing those lines.
Yeah.
Make it easier to understand, what the connections in the real world correlate to in a technical analysis way to a
And
degree.
all this is going to come back to when we hope the magic will happen back in crypto again at some point in time.
Yes.
So, Michael, anything else you want to look at on these?
Do we want to look at SPX? Just
Sure.
have we looked
Sure.
at that yet? And just
Meh.
yeah.
I mean, it just.
This is on a weekly. Do you want it on a daily?
I think that's fine. I mean, we're looking at overall macro of everything that's going on here. What are we
Yeah.
down? So go to January 2022.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna
Just
pull it up.
timeline. Just
So I need to set up your.
How you want it.
No, just so you can pull a top to bottom to see how far down.
And part of it might be I'm on the free version as well.
No, you can still do that in the free version.
Oh.
It just gives you the opportunity to kind of see different, like how far down the actual price went in SPY. So last year it was down 25% at the lowest for the year over year. And it actually peaked in January, by the way.
January of
3rd,
22?
22, yeah.
A year ago today?
Yeah. A year ago it peaked, and it got down 25%, and it's currently sitting at it's down about 20%. So
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the third right here.
Yeah, so it's down about 20% year over year, which is a big downturn when you think about the legacy markets.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I have it in this weird little kind of channel,
Yeah.
kind of a broadening wedge channel that is not the best case scenario, but, we got to see – there's so much macro stuff that we're waiting on, right? And I know I'm a big technical guy when I trade, and so is Michael. But,
Yep.
I mean, fundamentals obviously drive all this that's happening. And the technicals can help make decisions, on those fundamentals.
Yeah.
And right now the fundamentals suck.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
waiting for those to kind of, flush themselves out and show us, what could happen and see what we can do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I think so.
Only other thing I want to say is, we're going to do some more content that we're going to push out. Market updates. We're going to try to do that weekly, Mondays, Tuesdays, depending on when the opens are. We'll get things a little more streamlined. We'll have some cool graphics, crap like that. If you guys have questions, post them in the Discord.
Or anything you want to see specifically.
Yeah, anything you want to see. If you want us to kind of chart some stuff out, or you want us to talk about certain things, if you have suggestions, bring it in there. It'll be great. We're going to do other podcasts as well. All the rest will be more crypto oriented. We're going to do some interviews. We'll do some game talk, obviously, with a lot of Web3 games that we're involved with, and just overall crypto ecosystem too. So, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.